Hey guys, hope you're well. So you may have seen that video where one Muslim goes against 20 Christians, and I got curious and I wanted to watch it because I like to challenge myself here and there and just be like, okay, what are the arguments? And a lot of the arguments were really bad, like really, really bad. Like I couldn't believe it, how bad it was. Now, when you look at a lot of the comments in Korra's videos, a lot of people will say things like, she cooked them, she baked them, deep fried them. But when you look at the arguments, they were really bad. And I know what's going on here. Actually, it makes sense why people are taking this view. And it's, there's a verse in the Torah that's going to help us understand this. And as we know, in the Quran, it says to observe the Torah. In the Torah, it says, okay, I mean, there's multiple ways of saying it. Get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. Others will say, a more literal translation says, the first thing is wisdom, acquire wisdom. In all your inquiring, inquire understanding. So, in multiple translations, it's saying, don't just get wisdom, get understanding. Now, in a lot of Korra's arguments, there was logic used, but there wasn't understanding of the text quoted and of the arguments presented and of the concepts as well. To say if somebody comes up to you and says X does not equal Y, that's a logical statement. But if that person doesn't understand what X is or what Y is, it's not a good argument. So I saw this over and over again in Korra's arguments. So anybody who looks at those arguments and think that that's good, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of misunderstanding going on. And it does say to observe the Torah, so I would say in all you're getting, don't just get wisdom. Is wisdom logic? We can talk about that maybe another time. It's not enough just to have a logical statement. Is there understanding behind your statement? If I made a statement about the Quran, but I didn't understand what was being said, doesn't make any sense. And I saw that over and over again. And you'll see this a lot in Dawah in general. You'll see it a lot. There'll be arguments that have logic behind it, but because there's misunderstanding, it's misplaced, doesn't make sense. So yeah, I encourage you guys, distinguish the two. Just because somebody brings up a logical argument, do they actually know what they're saying? When they bring up a verse, do they actually know what the verse means? For example, when a Christian says Jesus is God, that phrase is often misinterpreted to mean Jesus is the Father. Now, obviously, the Bible doesn't teach that Jesus is the Father, because then who was Jesus praying to? Who sent Jesus? The Father sent Jesus. Do you know what I mean? So that's not what Christians are saying. What they're saying is that Jesus has divine essence, divine nature, and that's all they're saying. Yeah, but a lot of the time that's misunderstood. So obviously, somebody saying to a Christian, is Jesus the Father? A Christian say, no, he's not. And then that Muslim may say, oh, does that mean Jesus isn't God? They're using logic there, but not understanding. Just gonna let that sit. Not understanding what the Trinity actually is. So I do encourage people who are super gassed about these arguments, keep studying, gain understanding, because otherwise it's not good. Another thing, people say that Christians say that there's three gods. Now, obviously, there's some logic being used. 1, 2, 3. They're counting correctly. 1, 2, 3. But there's a misunderstanding. We're not saying there's three gods. When you research what it means, we're saying there's three persons, but one divine nature. In the same way, there's only one way to be a human. We're not talking about ethnicity, we're talking about humanity. There's only human being. There's no subhumans, it's just you're a human, yes or no. There's no subhumans. Only one way to be human. Only one human nature. Do you know what I'm saying? Someone's human or they're not human. There's no in between. In the same way, there's only one divine essence. There's no multiple divine essences. There's one. Do you know what I'm saying? But three people have that divine essence. Now, in our minds, we might be like, that doesn't make any sense. How does that work? But you have human nature, I have human nature, but we're different people. They all have the same nature. They're different people. But it's hard to wrap your brain around. But that's because we're talking about a being beyond this dimension. Regarding the rules of physics, rules of logic, the rules that underpin philosophy, this being made all of that, he's beyond that. That's why it's hard to comprehend, to really know what that is, because he's beyond this dimension. He made my thinking faculties. He's beyond that. So that's why it's hard to understand. We're talking about something beyond. And this being is described as love. Not a being that performs love. Not a being that does loving things, does loving acts, but a being that is love. And how are you going to perform love if there's nobody else to love around you? So this divine essence is love, and there's one essence, three people. You can see that in the Old Testament, New Testament. Do you know what I mean? But it's easy to misunderstand that and be like, you guys, you got three gods, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? So that's just a few common examples of where logic is used, but it's misunderstanding. So we're talking about something else completely. We're not actually talking about the topic. So you'll see that a lot in Korra's arguments. So I do encourage everyone, because this is serious. Wait, let me see if I can show you how serious this is. So Jesus did say this. Obviously, if no false prophets would come, then that means Jesus was lying and would be a false prophet. You know what I mean? So we can expect that people would come and say things that contradict what Jesus was teaching. So it's important to really understand the Quran, really understand the Torah, the Gospels, because, for one, it says to observe it. But when we're making claims, statements, and we don't really understand what we're arguing against, it's not good. It's not good. So everybody's, really rowdy, really, she baked them, she cooked them. You gotta keep gaining understanding, keep studying. I just encourage you to do that. I had to do that when I was researching different religions. You gotta do that. If Korra brings up a verse, read it for yourself, because often it's misquoted. Often the context is not there. It's so bad. So guys, I encourage that. Observe the Torah. The Torah says wisdom is the principal thing, but get wisdom and understanding. So if you're going to argue against something, make sure it's understood, because this is serious. Because if we're wrong, we're following. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I may do some videos looking at the arguments, but the video is quite long. But yeah, maybe watch it again in your own time and you'll see for yourself there's logic being used, but is there understanding as well? We need both for a solid argument. So yeah, look into that and gain your own understanding. Gain your own understanding.